keep logs.
Okay, let me listen to it.
No, go away. Leave me alone.
I can't believe you're
not.
Lower
Congrats,
decks,
man.
lower decks.
That's cool.
Teamwork. Chadich from now on, baby.
I don't want lessons
Klingons,
from
they're
you.
all about fighting. They're always making oaths about everything.
Everyone knows that.
Did you know about Spock? Dude came back from being dead.
Yeah, I think I've heard of
He's
Spock.
a freaking Genesis device and fought Khan and...
Jesus, was this tiresome. For a little adventure, let's take a look at this animation. Star Trek Lower Decks, the biggest kick in Star Trek's balls there could ever be. Star Trek's Lower Decks is a show that focuses on the support crew serving on one of Starfleet's least important ships, the USS Cerritos, in 2380. Ensigns Mariner, Boimler, Rutherford, and Tandy must keep up their duties and their social lives, often while the ship is being rocked by a multitude of sci-fi anomalies. The ship's bridge crew includes Captain Carol Freeman, Commander Jack Ransom, Lieutenant Shax, and Dr. Tiana. This is the second animated spin-off in the franchise after 1973-74's Star Trek the Animated Series, but has a decidedly more adult tone and humor. Where? The only thing adult about it is blood, which for me is an adult thing because I grew up on cartoons with blood and more mature themes. We went into this having hope because they compared it to Rick and Morty. It is nowhere near. Maybe this has an audience, but it sure as hell does not feel like a Trekkie one. The references to actual Star Trek lore are so forced and shoehorned, it makes me want to wash my ears out with vinegar.
I need you to make this stop, please.
Do you know Kirk?
Yes.
My man Worf?
Yes.
Gary Mitchell?
I'm sure I could look him
You
up.
don't have to because you have a mentor.
The cringe is so real, and it's not a good cringe.
Hang in there, you got this. It is getting tired, so go to your happy place. Like, oh, think about the warp core.
The first character is so annoying. She ruins the mood for the entire show. The only decent characters are the Cyborg and the Orion Green Girl.
What this map doesn't show you is that everything from like this deck up, super lame, not important to us.
You like the bar?
All right, fine, everything except the bar.
And the bridge.
The bridge is not cool.
Yes, it is.
Oh, hey.
See, everyone is always talking over each other, and just too much going on. Just stop. I know I'm high energy too, but this thing made even me tired. Can Mariner take a damn breath? Every scene she's in is just so unbearable, and this doofus seems to only exist to light the flame under her nonstop chattering ass. Also, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the concept was but the execution could have been way better. To work in Starfleet, you need to be the best of the best. They don't just let anyone on regardless of whether or not you're working on Lower Deck. There is a certain level of discipline and training that's required, and all of these characters seem to lack it. At least way more than they should. Or maybe it's just the two main ones, the purple-haired doormat and the big mouth can't shut up girl.
Nothing.
Oh no, no. Are you pretending to do a captain's log?
We're all supposed to keep logs.
Okay, let me listen to it.
No, go away. Leave me alone.
I can't believe you're wasting your shore leave on this.
This is how the show starts. And if you're a Trekkie and then you immediately see this, but maybe it's just me, but I feel like it would be the equivalent of having your face violently slapped with a brick of ice. I feel like the studios who created shows like this equate funniness to a very fast-paced way of speaking. It seems as though the main characters are excited all the time about everything. There's never any time to slow down, there's never any time for you to feel like you just want to relax into it, and especially if you're from Star Trek, the pace being overly fast and nonsensically high-pitched gets highly irritating very fast. Look at Rick and Morty, and even Solar Opposites. The characters still act real, even though the show itself is fast-paced. I know it has to be because they only have 20 minutes to put together a whole story worthy of an episode, and Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites do that very well. I can understand if there was that one character that behaved very cringy and uncomfortable, but they all seem to act like that. Well, except for the captain, and the green girl kind of makes it bearable. I feel like this is the kind of humor for little kids, to be honest, but that's my overview of how I feel about it from the get-go. Let's get into the actual show itself and the other problems I had with it, and I'm gonna give a little bit more examples. Just in case you didn't know, the show is set 10 years after the events of the Next Generation and focuses on the lowest ranking officers on one of Starfleet's least important ships, and it's partly inspired by the final season of Star Trek The Next Generation from their episode Lower Decks. The guy who wrote this is also somebody who has written for Rick and Morty, so it's not his first time doing this. He's worked on other successful titles. So while the intro titles are still rolling, Green Girl is introduced, and Purple Hair Guy just acts like a total idiot.
Hi, here, that's me. Ahoy.
Ensign Tindy reporting for duty. You're my orientation liaison.
Yes, welcome. Brad Boimler, Ensign, Command Division.
Oh my gosh, I've never worked with
Maybe I've grown up a little bit, but the cartoons I used to watch, everyone wasn't overly in a state of constant, overly tweaking because I'm too high mode. The chatterbox is always interrupting everyone, and then she won't shut the hell up.
I mean, great with your.
Yo,
oh my
yo,
God.
what up? Beckett Mariner, also an ensign, command division, but not quite as impressed with myself as this little rascal over here.
The episode is basically about Chatterbox not liking to follow rules and thinking that somehow her way is always better, and purple-haired dum-dum aspiring his whole life to work on the bridge and then throwing it all away, all because his irresponsible Chatterbox friend makes horrible decisions just because the captain asked him to snitch. And the only reason that she does this is because the captain is her mother and she's being rebellious. Even though someone breaking protocol in situations like she did could lead to death and destruction, but no worries, it's fine. Highly disciplined main character totally forgets all of that, all those years of him being disciplined and aspiring to be something like this, that just goes right out the window, just because.
The type of eventuality that can make a second contact mission a life or death situation.
I think the other thing that ticked me off about the show is, granted, this is only episode 1, but I don't think I'll be watching the others after this for a while. But yeah, as I said, I think because the animation is smooth, you know, it's supposed to be smooth like Rick and Morty's animation, I think it's a little bit smoother than that. The characters are talking in Gerbilese, which is way too fast for how their animations look. And to me, that's very jarring. I feel like that kind of pacing fits Family Guy or South Park, because Family Guy also has the animation that simulates a tiny bird twitching its head left and right. You know what I mean? Like, where there's no transition and the bird moves like it's being controlled by an old school SNES controller with no analog stick. But we get a little bit of slowdown, or what you can call a break, thank God, when we see one of the guys from the bridge making peace with the natives of that planet on their second contact. He gets bit by a bug and thinks nothing of it. Really? To be fair, the other guy asks him about it, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but maybe I'm stupid and I'm not remembering correctly. But I feel like once the guy asked him, if he should get that looked at, it would have been protocol, for getting bitten by alien bugs on a planet you've never been on before. But it furthers the plot, so whatever. Then everything goes back to a ridiculously fast pace. Nobody ever takes a breath. I could understand if one character was like that, but most of them speak like this or act like this. This is not a natural way of speaking, and for such an adult theme based on a family franchise that is based somewhat in reality with real people, it gives me a fucking headache.
So, where are you quartered?
Deck 9, by the squash courts?
When Cyborg and his date are falling in love and the whole crew is turning into zombies, I know this is meant to be funny, but it doesn't come off that way. So many other franchises have done this, but for some reason, it just doesn't fit.
I've never played squash. Is it fun?
We should play sometimes.
Oh, this is so boring to me. In one of the following scenes, when the captain, we find out later, is actually Chatterbox's mother, tells Purple Hair to keep an eye on her Chatterbox daughter, he mistakenly thinks that she's breaking protocol, the daughter, and then when he finds out that she kinda is, but she's doing something really nice, all of a sudden, the captain is the bad guy. Granted, he still holds his position at first, but then by the end of the show, because Chatterbox is such a badass, she has to be perfect, and she's his friend, so Purple Guy just changes his mind.
And Frock, well, she had nothing to do with that?
I don't remember much. Maybe that goo that saved the ship messed with my memory.
Nothing insubordinate?
Not that I saw.
Unbelievable.
You see, that's why they don't just hire anyone to work on the bridge. Small-minded people like this can't handle it. Purple Hair Guy is so wishy-washy, it's not even funny. For me, none of the characters are likable because they move so fast, so much so like mosquitoes that their life seems insignificant. Later, they get chased by a spider that the people of this planet milk. You heard that right. The spider pleasuring herself with Purple Hair Guy was another factor that just made me annoyed. Instead of having the actual problem that the people would need to solve without hurting the spider because it's important, they just magically make her happy. I guess that this is supposed to be for fun, but what I was expecting was there to be actual danger. This was the case for the entire episode, and I get that they're just introducing us to it, but you don't have to kill off someone for us to feel as though there's actual danger. Just don't turn everything that was supposed to be dangerous automatically into something that is easily cured, inconvenient, or innocent. If I really wanted to relate to the lower deck people, I would want to believe that they're in actual danger and see how they handle it even though they're not at the bridge.
Before, she's just gumming on them to suckle out some moisture.
Oh, okay, hey, Brad, good news, buddy. So it's just settling you, I've just learned.
Oh, so remember the zombie issue that they're having on the ship? Well, apparently the slime from the spider, which resulted in her sucking the hell out of the purple hair human, is the cure for it all. The lower Deck individuals are tight because Purple Hair should have gotten the credit for saving everyone. And even though he literally did nothing except get attacked and sucked and, would have died had it actually have been a predator, meanwhile, yes, Dr. Pussy gets the credit because he or she actually figured it out. It's almost as though Chatterbox and her friend forgot that the people on the bridge worked their way to the top as well. I've also never seen anyone in Star Trek treat people like that. Not to say that nobody ever did at all, but who knows? I guess it depends on the captain. This show was something, I'll give you that. I don't know whether it's paying homage to Star Trek or outright mocking it. I think the Orville did a better job at parodying this or taking inspiration from it. It didn't call itself Star Trek, but you can see the inspiration from it, and even though it's a little more lighthearted, the characters feel real. There's characters you hate and characters you love. Usually there's a healthy balance. You can only hate so many people, and that's why you usually have one really annoying character. But even so, with every movie and TV show I've seen those annoying characters, they don't let them in the audience's face right out the gate, and they're definitely not the lead characters right out the gate. The one character I absolutely despised in the Orville was the captain's ex-wife Kelly, who later on I actually grew to tolerate. This girl out the gate is just a royal nuisance. They don't introduce her right away. Notice, Lex from Jurassic Park, they don't introduce her right away. Joffrey from Game of Thrones, don't introduce him right away. Most of the annoying characters in TV shows and movies are not introduced right away, and they don't become main characters right out the gate. You don't want to chase people away from the movie. You have to introduce characters that you like first, and then have the annoying character come along later and do something horrible to them, or just have the character there so that you've already invested all of your emotions into the characters you actually like, so it makes it tolerable to stay with the characters you like, even though that one annoying character is there. This girl, just out the gate, is a royal nuisance, and I don't think her character is that bad. It's just the way they wrote her to speak like 1,000,000 miles per hour, so you can't even process what the hell she's saying. She doesn't act like a real person. Chihuahua dialect is only cute if dogs do it, but on a human, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Like I said before, I think it boils down to the animation. The animation is way too smooth for the characters to be so fast-paced, but that's just me. Maybe there's an audience for this. Again, this really boils down to opinion. It's supposedly a really happy ending because it proves that everyone's friends and we get to know their dynamic and why the characters feel the way they do with their motivations. But honestly, I don't care about any of them enough to continue. I don't care about any of them at all. I do like the Green Girl and the Cyborg, but by saying that I mean they're the only two characters I managed to tolerate in this entire episode. I think if this was some other kind of cartoon, I could forgive it, but because it has Star Trek slapped on the title, it just feels like somebody tried to make a cartoon version of Star Trek for little kids who didn't grasp the complexities of adult Star Trek, which is a reason I think a lot of little kids are getting dumber, because you're gearing the cartoons towards people who aren't even blessed with an average IQ. Most kids are really freaking smart, and you don't have to dumb down anything for them to get it. I don't even know how kids would end up picking it up, because everything moves so damn fast. Somebody also pointed out that Rick and Morty, which a lot of people are saying this is supposedly like, works because it was inspired by the relationship between Doc Brown and Marty McFly in the Back to the Future movies, but it was not an actual spin-off of Back to the Future. It can stand on its own and rewrite its own universe rules many times over. Lower Deck Star Trek struggles because it's an off-brand parody, but an approved part of a familiar and revered brand, and whatever satirical elements it features about life on Starfleet can only go so far. They're highly limited by this, and I totally agree. The final thing, which took me a while, and actually while I was recording this, I was like, that's it. That's the kicker. This is what made me fall in love with Star Trek in the first place. Not just because you're traveling to different worlds and space and stuff, but this is the one thing that made me fall in love with it. The philosophy. Orville and Star Trek and even Rick and Morty have this. They have the philosophy there. They have ethics, questions posed to the audience about what you would do in certain situations and how certain people handle certain situations, and meeting new cultures and finding themselves in complex situations with these new species or people or aliens. And there was none of that here. The only thing that came close to it was when the Chatterbox character was like, yeah, but we can't kill the spider because these people need it. We can't just leave them, but there's no complexity. Compared to Star Trek, it's superficial drivel. For me, this does not separate itself from any other just random cartoon on Cartoon Network, you know. I'm not talking about the older Cartoon Network where there was actually stuff that had substance. Anyways, it's just my opinion. You guys can go check it out for yourself. You may be surprised because I've gotten mixed reviews from people who are Trekkies who actually enjoyed it, and people who are Trekkies who absolutely abhorred it. And I can see where both sides are coming from. Unfortunately, I'm on the camp that could not wait for this episode to be over, and I will not be watching more. Thanks for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.
I'm supposed to report any breach of conduct to the captain.
We've been serving together for a year, and I still don't get why you worship those guys.
They're heroes!
All they care about is glory. Stuff that could earn them a mention in the history books. They don't really care about us.